Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Happy Wednesday. We're doing things a little bit different this Wednesday. It's episode 60 of Goose Chasing. Kind of hard to believe when Dino and I started this, I don't know, like a year and a half ago that we'd be here at this point. There's been a lot of projects that we've kind of ebbed and flowed on, but we've set sail on this one and we've been pretty consistent. But this week, got our good buddy on here, Johnny Utah from Primal Divide. Johnny, thanks for coming, man. I appreciate you joining me this morning.
Man, I'm glad to be on here. It's funny because I was thinking about it. And I'm like, we should just record our normal cell phone conversations.
Right.
Like that's a podcast.
They usually last about an hour to an hour and a half.
Yeah,
they
they're
happen.
perfect.
They happen once every couple months, and
Yep.
it really. I was thinking the same thing too
Yep.
when we were talking about getting this together. I'm like, yeah, we should have just been recording a couple days ago when we were chatting on the phone, but
Yep.
this will be fun too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Johnny, why don't you give everybody, all the Goose Chasing listeners, a little intro about yourself for the people that don't know you, and kind of maybe a little background where you came from and how you got into the hunting world.
Yeah. So grew up in Central Kentucky, and aging myself a little bit. Like, we don't have like we didn't have like a lot of whitetails growing up. Um, and so like we grew up fishing mostly, and that was kind of the big thing. And then once I moved to northern Kentucky, I became a police officer. The hunting, there's a lot more whitetails up there, and there was more people that were into it. So I actually didn't even buy my first hunting license until I was like 22, 23 years old. um, so I really haven't, I didn't grow up like a lot of people where they're like, oh man, I was a kid and my grandpappy taught me how to hunt, and all that kind of cool stuff. So that was pretty cool to kind of get a late, intro into it. But nonetheless, yeah.
Did you teach yourself? Like, how did you get into? Like, what sparked it? Did you teach yourself, or were you?
Yeah. So one of the guys that I was in the police academy with, he was coming to my same police department. He was from Texas. He's like, dude, we ought to get into whitetail hunting. And I'm like, I don't know anything about it. So I went to the public library and checked out a whole bunch of books like whitetail strategies and stuff like that. And what's cool is I've now gone back and I purchased all of those books that I checked out of the library, as kind of like a little memento keepsake kind of thing. But so anyways, that was how I learned how to hunt, because I didn't have anybody to teach me. And I can assure you, my buddy, he didn't know what the hell he was doing either. So, we went to Walmart. I bought an off the shelf, I bought a Winchester 270, and I got some, I think it might have been Realtree. It might have not even, it might have been a non-denominational camouflage
brand.
Yeah. It had some leaves on it and some twigs and berries and whatnot. And I was like, oh, this looks like I'll blend in. We had no idea what we were doing. But I knew that I could shoot a gun well. If I could get a whitetail in the reticle, like I was in the chips. So did that for a couple years and made the transition into archery, and that's kind of when things really kind of took off. Like I got more passionate about it, and I think because I just enjoyed those close encounters more, and you have to deal with those inevitable, the bad shit that's going to happen. Like it's going to smell you, it's going to see you, you know what I mean? So, you're not just taking shots at 100, 200 yards away. So, that's kind of when the thing started to change. I got involved with White Knuckle Productions, which was kind of one of the early web shows and DVDs with, the late Todd Prignitz, and then became a co-owner of Wicked Tree Gear. My buddy Corey Anderson, he's the Bellator light heavyweight champion, but he always has this thing he talks about. There's levels to this, and with anything in life, there's levels to it, right? And I was a weekend hunter with a rifle. Then I became like an extended weekend archery guy, And then once I got involved with White Knuckle and Wicked, and that's when things just took a big jump. And I started like food plotting and trail cameras, and everything kind of started to come together and whatnot. But Todd and I, we ran White Knuckle. We did Wicked Tree Gear. We got into Cabela's and Bass Pro. We ended up selling Wicked Tree Gear. He took his buyout and sailed off into the sunset. And I agreed to stay on board with the holding company that purchased Wicked, and became the director of marketing for all of their brands and the Bucks of Tecumseh TV show and that stuff. But that was a 3-year commitment. So I knew whatever I was going to do in life, I needed to figure it the fuck out in the next 3 years, And I was like, oh man, the pressure's on. So I gravitated towards photography, and initially I think that's kind of how I made my name in the space, was as a freelance photographer. And then, but I was still kind of filming my hunts here and there, and then just kind of went full bore and said, you know what, screw it. I'm going to film all my hunts, and I'm going to see if I can put a show together, and started the show Primal Divide, and we've had about a 5-year run now, and things are going pretty good.
Yeah, it's funny because there's definitely different levels to all this stuff. And I think sometimes for us, we kind of get caught up in like the upper echelon level, or just, you're chasing kind of like some of the bigger personalities that we see or that we've grown up with. But the majority of the hunting community is like you were when you were 22, 23 years old, just trying to figure it out, And so I don't know. Sometimes I feel like we've got to check ourselves a little bit and kind of talk to the people that are just starting too, because I mean, it's no secret. Like the sport's not getting any younger. There's not a whole lot of, I don't know. It's so hard to comprehend. Like, is there a lot of new hunters? Because you hear guys all the time talking about, oh, my, permission piece got stolen by a guy that came in from out of state and leased it, or like there's no more hunting ground and stuff like that. But ultimately, like, license sales and stuff like that kind of speak differently. So it's like, where are we in all this?
Yeah, I have a theory on that. It's and I could be totally wrong, and the listeners might be like, you're an idiot, but my theory is, back when I first started hunting, there was like 3 or 4 of us that were hunting a 86, 87 acre property. And I didn't feel like anybody was imposing on my stuff or my space. I was just happy to have a spot to go and hunt.
Yeah.
And you're out there for that chance. You give yourself the opportunity by being scent free and being up in a tree, and
just
you never
being
know.
there.
Yep. Well, what might happen. That was your ticket to the circus, right?
Oh yeah.
And now the evolution of hunting is, I want to kill giant deer, and it's no secret. Sure, you can kill a giant on public. You can kill a giant that you've never seen before. But more often than not, to kill a giant, you have to grow a giant. And the best way to grow a giant is, I can't share 100 acres with 3 other dudes.
Right.
I need 5,000 acres for me.
For just you, yeah.
Yep. And that's how I can control and manage what's going on. So I think the access to hunting ground, we are our own worst enemy in that sense. Because like you said, license sales, the numbers show that we're not really losing hunters. You know what I mean? I just think people are losing access to ground, and we're our own worst enemies because of it.
Yeah, it's like that, the hunt camp feel.
Yeah.
That is kind of dissipated, and you're right. I mean, if you want to kill big deer consistently, you kind of have to set yourself to the side of like hunters. You've got to kind of hide away. You've got to have your little honey hole that's probably not so little.
Yeah.
And you've got to kind of, just put yourself to the side and segregate yourself. And it's such a weird balance, because like, I'm like anybody else. I mean, I've killed a lot of deer with my bow. I really do want to like venture out west. Now that's kind of like my next phenomenon in my head where I want to, go explore and get experience. But in the whitetail world, I'm like anybody else that's been doing this for 20 plus years at this point.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to level myself up, and the balance of that along with including other people is very difficult.
Yeah, it is.
I mean,
and it's getting tougher. I mean, I made the decision to move to Iowa about 8 years ago, and it's no secret, for anybody that's not aware, in Iowa, to get an archery tag, you can only get one whitetail buck tag once every 5 years. But if you're a resident, every single year you get an archery buck tag, and then you get a second tag, and it can be late muzzle loader, which you can also use archery equipment, or you could have a shotgun tag, and and then if you're a landowner, then you get a third buck tag.
yeah, that's
So
crazy.
I was like, screw that. You know what I mean? I don't want to go there once every 5 years. I'll just move
Right.
there. There's nothing holding me down to Kentucky anymore, because I had left law enforcement, and I had sold my landscape company, and then like I said, we sold Wicked. So there was nothing that was really tying me down, other than family, and cousins and stuff like that. But
Right.
I was like, well, you want to be a country singer, you go to Nashville. You want to be an actor, you go to Hollywood. But if you want to like be a whitetail guy and try to chase giants, you're going to Iowa or Kansas, or
Right.
and stuff like that. So that was the decision that we made. And then when I got out here, in my head, I had convinced myself that I was going to see a 180-inch deer behind every tree. That's not the case.
Yeah.
The potential is here, and I think it's simply because there's just more whitetails than there are humans.
Yep.
Or your human to whitetail ratio is skewed versus a state like Pennsylvania or Michigan,
Right.
things like that. But yeah, I mean, the potential's here, but like this podcast and this conversation couldn't be any more timed. 48 hours ago, I just lost a lease that I've had for 8 years.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, it's the property that I shot my big buck on last year. So yeah.
So what had
it's a bummer.
somebody else come in or what?
So the property was owned by there was a bunch of family, and
Okay.
we see this all the time. Parents pass away, they leave the property into the kid's name. Some of the kids are local, some of them don't even live in the state anymore, and they're like, F this, man. I just sell the property and split the money. So the property got listed for sale last year, and they were asking a crazy price per acre. I mean, it was insane. It was like $8,200 an acre.
Wow.
And for this area, it's $4,000 an acre ground,
Yeah.
But
which is still not cheap.
No.
Oh
and that same property, I could have bought that property 8 years ago for $2,500 an acre.
Oh my gosh, it's nuts.
So yeah, it's been on the market for about a year, and they just did a price reduction, and that's all it took. They dropped it to about $5,200-$5,300 an acre, and somebody grabbed it up. But,
damn, so they dropped it quite a bit though.
Yeah, they was kind of steady. I mean, they went to like 7 to 6.
Okay.
Yeah. So when they did this last drop, I was like, ooh, even with these interest rates, like we might be getting close,
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so I got the call that, it was under contract and they were closing in 30 days. So I had to go out there a couple days ago and pull all my trail cams and tree stands and all that crap out of there. So yeah, it's a bummer. So I'm down to, and here's the other thing too. Like people are like, oh man, you live in Iowa and you have a hunting show. You're an Under Armour athlete. Yeah, it must be nice to have like 1,000 acres to hunt. Well, here's the reality. I just lost a 99-acre lease that I also shared with half the trespassers in my county, unbeknownst to me. They had permission to somehow. So that's the primo ground that I've been hunting. It gets more pressure than public. And then the other piece of property I have, which I'm very fortunate and grateful to have it's just a permission piece. So a buddy of mine, his family owns it, that they don't live in the state. And, I have a buy-in to that. I provide all the trail cameras, food plot, mineral, and stuff like that. And I help do work out there on the farm. but that's how I get my permission. But because it's a permission piece, I'm second fiddle.
Right.
He gets first dibs on the big buck. So
how do you guys work that? Is that like if you got like a specific deer on camera, like, and he's like, I want to go after that deer, is it off limits for you?
pretty much, yeah. That's so. For example, 2000, 2022, yeah, 2022. There was like a one. We knew he was going to be at least one mid 90s, if he
Man.
might break 200 because he had so much trash, and he was going after that deer, and it made it to about November 5th. And he called me. He's like, "Hey, are you seeing anything on your lease?" I'm like, "I'm not seeing crap." He's like, "Well, why are you not hunting here? You have permission to hunt here." And I was like, two reasons. Number one, I don't want to bump that deer.
Right.
And number two, if that joker walks underneath my stand, I'm sorry, I'm putting an arrow through it. You know what I mean? And I feel like a dick. So I said the best thing for me to do is stay off the property. He killed it on like November 7th or 8th, I think. And then the very next day I hung a set and was hunting there, So and I ended up sticking a mid 80s deer that I one lunged.
That was that deer.
Yeah. He made it through. So he showed back up late last season, but he showed up one time and we just couldn't get back on him and whatnot. So that deer, that property has potential. It holds big deer, or at least big deer travel through there. So
yeah,
this year, because now I'm not spreading my efforts on two properties, I told him, I said, dude, this is going to look like the damn produce section at a grocery store when we're done with it. I'm going to have so much food on that property this year.
Bring them in.
Yeah. I
from
told him,
all directions.
I'm like, dude, I got about 30 pounds of food plot seed we're about to put on there, in like per plot.
Any tillable ground is getting seed.
Everything. It's going to be clover, turnips, brassicas. Yeah, we're going to have sorghum. We're going to have beans. We're going to have corn. We'll have everything out there. It's going to look like a vegan's, wet dream.
I'm like you, though. If you don't want me to shoot a specific deer, I'm not going to that piece of property to hunt. I'm just not doing it because I'm not going to put myself in that position.
Yeah.
And I've never shot a deer of that caliber.
Mm-hmm.
And so the hunter in me is drawing my bow and letting an arrow fly 10 out of 10 times if I'm in that scenario. So I just don't want to. I'll go somewhere else. Yeah.
And if I would have shot that deer, I don't think he would have been pissed at me.
Right.
But I would have been mad at myself because I know,
right.
He had history with that deer, and he actually missed him the season before. He sailed one right over his back when he was a 178 to 182-ish type deer. But
man.
Yeah, he ended up killing him, man, and he brought him over to the house. I scored it for him, and yeah, it was like 196 and some change.
Wow.
Just a hammer. Had like 14-inch brow tines.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was a stud of a deer. Just a freak.
Someday I'll be there.
Yeah, and here's the thing, and I've always said, like, I'll never shoot a 180, 190 if a solid 155, 160 walks by me first.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm not doing it. Not doing it, man. I'm from Kentucky. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Back home, we used to score does. You know what I mean? I'd hold them ears out,
Yeah, hold them ears out. How wide's are spread?
That's right. So,
dude, yeah, no, we grew up hunting in Western New York, man. I mean, literally growing up for us, like a 2.5-year-old basket 8-point, that was like, if one of the guys in the group got that, it was like a monumental season. Like we shut it down after that. It was like, we're just put them in the back, open the tailgate, and we are driving around until thing is like a piece of jerky. No, we wouldn't do that. But seriously, that was it. I mean, that literally, like, that's how we grew up. Like, I remember watching, the Drurys and Realtree road trips and monster bucks and watching these guys go out to like the Milk River in Montana and Iowa and Missouri and, some parts of Texas and stuff. And they were just killing these deer that honestly, for me as a young kid growing up, just from my experience, I didn't even think they were actually real. You know, it
Yeah.
was like the TV glam at that point.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, to pass up like a 150 to 160 to get to that 180, I don't know. I'm not there yet, and I don't know that I'll be there anytime soon.
No, and it's just, and I live in Iowa. I mean, I know what the potential is, but I've hunted long enough, and with the show, it's provided a lot of opportunities, that I do get to hunt a lot. So, I know what's out there. Yeah, I'm just not doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and it's not me bashing any of the guys that are shooting those giants and growing giants every year. It's just, I'll admit, I'm not there yet.
Right. Well, I mean, if you've lived out there long enough or in one of those states, and I mean, you got a couple 180-inch deer on the wall, like I mean, I get it, like
Yeah,
that's kind of like the tier up of where I'm at, or maybe where we're at right
yeah,
now. Like a 3.5-year-old is something that like I'm laying off of at this point, where
yeah, right.
5-6 years ago, all day, baby, all day, fill
Yeah,
tags, let's go.
yeah,
Let's go.
yeah, yeah,
And there's nothing,
exactly.
but there's literally nothing wrong with that. And
No.
where I guess where I struggle with a lot of it is like kind of the bashing of, he wasn't big enough, or you should have given him another year. Somebody saying that based on their own thoughts and opinions, and their own hunting career. Like that's where I struggle a little bit, is like pointing the finger at somebody else, and especially when it comes to taking a life, like let's take that a little bit more serious. And honor whatever was taken, and especially if it was a good, clean, ethical kill, and everything was done to the best of their ability. Like, how do you knock anybody for that?
Right. Well, so short story, like, I'm a hunter safety instructor for the state of Iowa.
Oh,
Like,
nice.
not a volunteer. Like, I actually went and got certified, took the test, all that stuff. And I've never taken a paycheck from the state of Iowa. Every class I teach, I just put an X over my name and refuse, to get paid. Because I want to, I mean, that's my way. It's one of the things I want to do to try to give back.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
And so one year, I always start the classes the same way. And I'm like, by show of hands, how many of you have hunted before? And, some of them are shy because they're like, I'm supposed to have a license. I'm like, no, you're kids. You're under the age limit. That's why you're here. Now it's a requirement, to have your orange card. But so, you get a few hands that come up and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, did you post anything or did you shoot anything? No. Well, hey, little Billy, why didn't you shoot something? Well, my buddy, he shot a really big buck, and I saw these guys on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or whatever on TV. They shot a big buck, and the buck that was in front of me, I was afraid I was going to get made fun of. And I'm like, damn. It shouldn't be that way.
Hell
I'm like,
no.
and I tell them, every one of them, I'm like, be ethical. It's your tag. Shoot whatever the shit you want to shoot.
Yeah.
Never compare yourself. And I've even had some of my buddies that film for me sometimes. They're like, dude, man, I must suck as a hunter because like you've killed a lot of stuff in your time. And I'm like, I also get to hunt 180 days a year.
Yeah.
You're getting to hunt 20.
Right.
You can't compare that.
Yeah, it's going to take you 10 years to get the experience that I get in one.
Exactly. Yep. So that's one thing. People talk about how social media hurts or helps hunting, and I think at the end of the day, it's still a net positive.
Yeah.
But I can also see some of the times where I feel like it might hurt. It's super easy to send hate. It's super easy to bash somebody hiding behind a keyboard.
Right.
I got real mad one time. I was on another podcast and I made a comment. I was like, metaphorically and like physically, I have big shoulders. So if you want to say something, say it to my face. You know what I mean? and we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Hey.
We'll dance around a little bit.
That's right. That's right.
It is funny the faceless, shots that you get. And I mean, we had a video up the other day, and I can't remember if it was Dean or I in a stand, whatever, but there was a buck like, I don't know, 40 yards in the hardwoods, just kind of chilling. And he was like right in the scope housing of one of our bows. So I can't remember who it was, but we took a video and you can kind of zoom in, and the pin is literally like right behind his shoulder, whatever. No, like that was it. Zoom in, zoom out. You could see the deer. Nothing got shot at. No bows drawn. Not even close. And this woman just comes out of nowhere, and she is just laying into us for being like killers and animal haters and this and that, and we're gonna go to hell and all. I'm like, and the one dude under it, it's awesome when somebody else actually chimes into what you're thinking.
Yeah, right.
Because he's just kind of like, lady, literally nothing was harmed in this video. Like, I don't know what you're barking at, but like, you need to chill out a little bit.
Yeah. Pipe down, Karen.
I just don't understand. Like, it has never crossed my mind. Like, I could see the worst video online or something that I just completely disagree with or whatever. I have no ounce of any energy within me to write a hateful comment after watching anything, no matter what it does for me. Like, I just don't. So I can't comprehend the mentality or the thought process there.
I am guilty of, if I see a post and you look at it and you go, oh, I'm going straight to the comments and get my popcorn ready.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I will definitely do that for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I've done that a lot.
This one might take a minute to read through.
But I'm like, just keep scrolling. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I mean, I don't purposely try to go out and find something that I don't agree with in my personal life or professional life and be like, you know what, I'm gonna feel better about myself for leaving a shitty comment, like,
I'm gonna tell them.
It's
like, it's so unnecessary.
This will learn them something,
right? They're gonna change their ways after this. Sure.
One comment.
User 5962880. Now you're right, you changed my mind. I'm gonna hang it up. I'm done.
I'm done. You know what, I'm going to change my ways. I'm no longer going to hurt animals anymore, I actually got, so out of all the animals that I've ever taken, the most hate by, I'm talking 1,000 to 1 ratio, is when I shot my bear in Canada.
Really?
Dude, I had comments that were like, I hope the next time you go in the woods, a bear grabs your bow, like takes the bow from you, pulls it back, and puts an arrow through you. Oh, and I hope your wife and kids are there to watch it. And I was like, man, that got dark quick.
What kind of sick human being are you?
And I'm supposed to be the psychopath. You know what I mean? I'm like,
what the hell is going on? Yeah.
Oh, I must have popped up on some, PETA or I must have popped up on something, and they got their mail chain army and we're like, attack, flank from the left, from the right.
Right. Send all the troops in.
It was a coordinated effort because it all came in like a matter of like 2 hours. But I was like, whoa.
But that is wild.
I was like, thanks for watching. Thanks for boosting the algorithm.
Right.
That's
the funniest part is they don't realize they just start slandering your page, and I'm like, this is great. Because I'm gonna just respond like to each one of these comments, like, Karen, I think you kind of just need a hug or something. Give her something completely off the wall back where she has nothing. Like, what are you gonna say to that after that?
Let's hug it out.
Yeah. But I'm like, you guys are providing comments. You're boosting us up in the algorithm. I'm gonna boost it a little bit more by answering every single one of these comments. So keep it flowing. Keep it flowing. Yeah, and that's good for business.
That's what I did. Is I was like, I don't think that a bear is going to have the dexterity, and with the claws, it might cut. You know what I mean? The D loop. And
there's no way he could fit a release on his wrist.
And I was like, and with without having a thumb, I just don't see a positive grip on the riser. So I don't think that the bear would be as accurate, and the draw length is nowhere near the same as mine. So I just
Right.
don't think it'll work. I was like, but it'd be cool footage if it did. But yeah, it's crazy. And then I got a little bit for the elk as well recently. It was it was a vegetarian that was mad at me for eating meat.
I mean,
like, okay. Now, here's my thing. I get it. Everybody is entitled to their own opinion. I know people that are vegan, vegetarians, whatever. I know people that have different opposing views than I do in life, and that's fine. Like we can still be friends. But if you represent, I don't know what the percentage of like non-meat eating people are in the world. I mean, do you think it's as high as 8% or 5%?
I bet it is. I mean, I bet these days it is.
We need a Jamie like Rogan's got. Jamie, look that up.
Jamie, yeah. Hey, can you put that up on the screen?
Yeah. So
let's Google that.
I don't know what it is, but if you represent, let's just say it's 5%. If you know that you represent 5% of the world, how bad must that suck that I'm like, every day when I wake up, I'm like, I despise 95% of all humans.
Yeah. What a terrible life.
That would suck.
That would be terrible. Terrible. Yep. And it is, because it's kind of like a mentality. It's kind of like a lifestyle, I almost feel like.
Yep.
And it's 100%. Like they hate it so much. And we always get like the defenseless animal comments. And it's like, what animal is, other than what they got on them, what animal is defending themselves in any other way? Like we are the top of the food chain. I didn't ask for this. I'm a human being by chance.
Yep.
And this is what, but it's crazy. Like the defenseless
thank God though we weren't born as squirrels.
Yeah.
That would suck. Be indecisive, never know which way on the road to go.
You're always getting a frustration arrow thrown at you every once in a while from the hunter that's sitting 20 yards from you that hasn't seen shit all day. Zipping off half your tail.
Just waiting to get pinned to a tree.
Right.
Damn the luck.
Oh, shit. Well, I want to talk a little bit about that elk hunt, because I know, I saw that it was Arizona?
Yes, sir. Yep.
That's awesome. And it's full velvet elk.
Yeah.
And those were, you said, over-the-counter tags?
Yeah, they're over-the-counter tags.
That is crazy.
It was such a unique thing. I mean, I've been putting in for Arizona archery points for a while. But to draw an Arizona archery tag, conceivably, you're looking at 20, 25 years.
Really?
It's a really tough. Yep. And to get a primo rut archery, tag
in a good zone and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yep. So I'm good friends with the guys at Big Chino Outfitters, JP and Michael and those guys. And they were like, well, dude, you just need to put in for the OTC. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I know nothing about this. And they're like, yeah, there's a summer OTC hunt. And I'm like, what? Like, I've never heard of such,
Yeah. So
I looked into it. And then last year they were posting a bunch of the bulls that they were killing, and they actually shot a 362, 363 bull last year in July. And I'm like, wow, that's a big bull. So I told JP, I was like, hey, mark it down 2024. I want to do it. So we coordinated the effort, and, could I have gone out there on a DIY OTC tag and possibly made it happen? Maybe. There's that chance. But I wanted to stack the odds in my favor, so I essentially paid a guide service, to help get me in the spots and point me in the right direction and whatnot. And I wanted to learn. Elk hunting is something that I don't have a lot of experience on. I've only been on a handful of elk hunts, but I've never been successful. I've come to full draw a couple times, but just one way or another, the luck wasn't on my side, or the skill wasn't on my side, either one.
Yeah.
But I was like, I need to get this monkey off my back. I need to get my first elk down. I've shot pronghorn on public land with my bow, and bears and muley spot and stock with my bow in Colorado. And, I've been successful on all these other hunts, but elk was just something that I wasn't very good at. So I linked up with those guys, and I'm so glad I did. They know the area really well, and it was technically day 2, kind of day 3, because the first night we just went out and did a little glassing, but really it was the second day of actual hunting. And that evening we closed in and stalked in on some bachelor group of bulls, and 550 yards I made my first shot, and did a follow-up shot at like 525.
Damn.
And put this bull down. Yeah.
That's awesome. So is it like it's over the counter? Is it limited?
I don't know if they have a cap or not. I don't know if there's a quota number that they'll cap. That I don't know. But I didn't buy my tag until I got into town, and they never told me like, hey, you want to go ahead and buy your tag early.
Right.
They were like, yeah, whenever you get to town, just buy the tag. So that tells me there's not a cap.
Right. Or it's like it's still that much under the radar. How long's the season?
So technically it runs like March to like the end of July.
Wait, really?
Yeah. So you could get some bulls before they drop.
What?
But obviously they don't guide anything, once they've dropped, and they typically don't start guiding until the very, very end of June. So I was the first client there.
Okay. Damn, that's nuts. That's wild to me that like you don't see it more. You see a lot of people hunting velvet whitetails, obviously velvet muleys and stuff like that, but you don't see a lot of people hunting velvet elk, especially not at the end of June.
I know. Yeah. And when I went out there, it was like for me, it was a 2-day drive out there. I didn't want to fly. If I can drive, I like to drive.
Same.
Because I want to have all my gear.
Yeah.
I don't want to be like, I don't want to have to be picking and choosing, eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Right. I need this. No, I don't really need this. Yeah.
And the camera equipment, batteries, backup mics, and all that. So we drove out there. So my videographer, she lives in Pennsylvania. So I flew her in to Des Moines, picked her up at the Des Moines airport, and then we had a 2-day drive out. And one of the things I kept talking to her about is I just said, my biggest concern is that it's going to be hot. Whatever we do, we have to be choosy. Like, we got to shoot the bull early in the morning, or I want to shoot the bull at last light because I want to, because of heat and sun.
Yeah, packing that thing in the middle of the day would be brutal.
Yeah, I was like, if I go on a hunt just because I wanted a velvet bull, but I end up losing even 1 ounce of meat, I will feel like the biggest dick bag in the world, That was my biggest concern about the whole hunt was, am I letting my greed or lust for a velvet bull, outweigh meat preservation? But
right.
We got super lucky. I shot the bull with about 10 to 15 minutes of legal shooting light left. So we caped out, with headlamps in the dark and packed out in the dark. And so it was super cool. And had about a mile and a half pack out, but it was in sand in the desert stuff.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So like every step is really not a full step,
you're sinking a little bit. You got no grip.
Yeah. So it was cool. And that day I had a good feeling about that day for whatever, how it is, we're all hunters.
Oh yeah.
You get those sixth sense. You're like, today's a kill day.
Yep. It's gonna happen.
That afternoon, whenever we went to head out, I stopped at a gas station and went ahead and filled up the cooler with ice. I was like, I just have a feeling it's going to happen.
Wow.
Today.
You went there.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. And made it happen. That's like Babe Ruth calling his shot.
Yeah. I put it into the universe. You know what I mean?
Stick the bat out.
That's right. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, and Leslie, my camera girl, we woke up that morning. We usually, when we travel, we'll do like an Airbnb or something, and, I got up that morning and we were eating breakfast, and she goes, I had a dream last night. You shot your bull like in an open meadow. And when the episode comes out here in a couple weeks on Waypoint, I shot that bull in an open meadow.
That's wild.
Yeah.
The energies were energizing.
Yeah, we were on the same page. So yeah, it was awesome.
It is cool. Like as a hunter, anybody that's done this long enough, like there are those days where you wake up and you're like, I don't want to say this to anybody, but today's the day.
Yeah.
You know,
No, it's
I
it's a
felt it
it's
so many times.
it's a thing, man. And Todd Prignitz, he used to talk about it all the time. He called them kill days. He said
Yeah.
in a typical whitetail season, there's about 7 or 8 kill days a year. And those are the highest odd, and whether it be the red moon days
Right.
or the high barometric pressure days, but he would always reference there was 7 to 8 kill days in a season, and you have to capitalize on those days.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I guess when we were younger growing up, like when I was first getting that feeling, it was just a feeling for me. Like,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
honestly, like you were saying earlier, we had our, I don't know, it was like 80, 85 acres that we grew up hunting up in Western New York, and everybody kind of had their spot,
Yeah.
You weren't going over here one day and then, the wind changed. So we're going over here the next day, or we're sitting by this food plot, whatever. It didn't matter. Like, your spot was your spot. Don't go near my spot. I hung that tree stand. I trimmed the lanes. I'm going back there. Doesn't matter if the wind's blowing north, south, east, or west. And that's just how it's going to be. So it was just pure chance at that point, and the stars aligned. But now, I mean, with, everybody pays so much attention to the weather and the red moon. And everybody's trying to figure it out from a science, and there's things that can give you definitely a better opportunity, but ultimately they're animals. They're out there all the time.
Yeah. One of the things I talk about a lot is you could play everything right. Your wind's right, your entry exit's right. It's a red moon, high barometric pressure. We had a north-south shift in wind. I mean, all those little things that you're like, it's going to have deer on their feet. All the cows are up feeding and running around in the area. All that shit. What if a coyote came through an hour before and totally derailed that buck? He was going to walk under your stand.
Yep.
But a coyote changed, or a tractor came through.
Yep.
Whatever. And then you're thinking, damn, I thought I played that perfectly, but I didn't see shit today. So was I wrong?
Yeah.
You'll never know.
You'll never know.
Uh-huh.
Or there's times like last year in Kansas, it was our second last day of the hunt. It was one of those days. It was the kill day. Got cold, pressure was high, deer were moving all morning. So Dean and I were like, this is going to be an awesome afternoon to hunt. We saw a bunch of bucks in the morning. We go back out in the afternoon. It was kind of slow for a lot of the afternoon, but all of a sudden the deer train just starts coming. They start filing out of the thicket into the winter wheat, and they're coming past us. Finally, the buck that we were in there to kill, he's coming. He's like 40 yards, kind of quartering two, but he's got to he's got to clear a fence before he gets in shooting range for us. And he's probably standing out there with 5 or 6 other deer, and they're kind of all milling around. It had to be a couple 100 yards behind us. This coyote lights up one time. Everything went red alert. 2 of the littler bucks jumped the other fence and back into the thicket. That was it. He was 3 steps from getting Sheila. Yeah. And it just, the timing. But it was one of those days where Dean and I both woke up and we were like, this is it. Like, we've been here for 4 or 5 days at this point. Like, we're finally getting settled in. The weather's perfect. Like, this is it. But you don't have control over that stuff.
No. And it's so frustrating. Like, when you're that close.
Oh my gosh. Especially on a hunt that has a timeline, Like that
all those destination hunts are like that.
They have a timeline
there for a set. I remember so Leslie's she's still relatively new to hunting, and last year was her first archery season.
Okay.
So she was in Ohio. She's got a lease in Ohio, and I helped her put in plots and got her tree stands going and trail cameras and stuff. But it was a learning year. She wanted to go through the whole process. And so she's like, I'm going to Ohio. And it was unusually warm last year in Ohio in early November.
Yeah, it was. I remember that.
It was like 75 degrees. but she's on a destination hunt, so it's not like she can not hunt.
Right.
You know, you and I, if we were in our home states, we're like, no unnecessary pressure.
Nope.
I'm gonna wait till the weather's right. But because she was on this destination hunt, she was just grinding it out every day. I mean, I think she sat 3 days and never saw a single deer, and was pulling some long sits, you know, 4-hour mornings, 4-hour afternoons.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, this poor girl, you know,
And not seeing anything. That's
Yeah.
brutal.
Yeah. And then the weather shifted. I shot my buck in Iowa on November 8th, and I think November 10th, I was in Ohio up in a tree with her, and she shot her first whitetail, you know.
Oh, hell yeah. That's awesome.
So that was cool. Yeah, that was cool to see. But yeah, it's been neat to kind of see her progress, and I've really enjoyed teaching a newer. She's not. I wouldn't say she's a brand new hunter. She's a brand new archery hunter.
Okay.
So it's been neat to kind of like teach her stuff, and in the process, I'm remembering old shit that I read in those books, like Whitetail Strategies 101, and I'm like, oh shit, I used to do that, and I don't do that anymore. I should probably bring that back into the fold and try some of those old techniques, you know.
For sure. One for her, it's got to be awesome, you know, even as a camera lady, like she gets to watch you and kind of observe. I mean, when we were growing up, Dean and I were growing up, it was years of just going with my dad, going with my uncle, my grandpa, whatever, just observing. You know, we saw a lot of shit go down. Hence, that's why this podcast is called Goose Chasing, because most weekends we were on a goose chase. Like they were literally just learning their archery equipment. You know, like I mean, my dad and my uncle, they were the first to kill a deer with a bow in our family, and I grew up generations of hunters. So
that's super cool.
I mean, I think there's something to be said about, you know, being there and observing it before you do it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crisis rehearsal. I mean, it's, you know, I think of all the years of training I did in law enforcement before I was ever in a situation where it was like, oh shit, you know, this is real. Yeah. So, and I'm glad I had all those repetitions, you know, to do that. Sure. So, and she credits that. I mean, I think she's very observant to the fact that she's like, I'm getting to follow a guy that not just has been hunting for 22, 23 years, but he's been hunting at a high level. And when I say high level, I don't mean I'm Fred Bear. I get to do it a lot. So, and like you said, I mean, one of our seasons is equivalent to a lot of people's 10, 12, 20 seasons. With the amount of stuff that we get to see and observe. And it's all just little notes, you know, every year you're learning another 0.5%, 0.5%, you know. So it's been real cool to see her grow and whatnot. And she's got bit by the trail camera bug.
Oh boy.
And I'm like, be careful.
Oh yeah.
Because they might not be there when they go hard horn.
Right. Well, that's probably one of the harder things this time of year. You know, you got 3 or 4 different bucks, or maybe 3 or 4 different bachelor groups on camera.
Yeah.
And you're like licking your chops, like, just open the season already. Open it up for me.
Well, that's her exact text to me last night. Is she sent me one of her bucks. She works with Moultrie and I work with Tacticam.
Okay.
But she sent me one of her Moultrie trail camera pictures, and it's a pretty good, like 140, 145 inch buck. And, you know, she's never shot anything that big. You know, her biggest buck's like a 120. Yeah. And so she was like, why can't it be September 28th, like right now? And I'm like, oh,
there's a long way in between now and then.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny seeing her go through the same crap that we've all gone through, you know, season after season.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, you know, bringing somebody else new into it, it's I don't know. It's honorable, I think, to be able to do that. And it's, once again, the balance of like what we do versus, you know, trying to dummy it down a little bit so that you don't overwhelm somebody for that point of entry. You know what I mean? Because a lot of what, you know, I mean, once again, we're out there, we've got our own goals and our own aspirations and stuff like that, and just kind of our own view on our hunting season.
Sure.
But ultimately, we're putting out content. Like, there is a little bit of a responsibility to say, hey, little Johnny over there is trying to get into it. Like, how can we just even give him a little nudge, to keep him going on that path, whether it's just shooting a bow, maybe it's just target, shooting a bow, or bringing them along with, or whatever the case may be. But there's definitely a balance there that I think people like us who have a little bit of a voice in the hunting industry, we've got to keep that in balance.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And, and I've got to see it like with my own sons. Neither one of them have been bitten by the hunting bug. And I'm like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, did I drop you on your head? Like,
yeah, what happened?
How's this possible? I just assumed that they were going to be obsessed with it.
Right.
Because they've grown, essentially that's all they've ever known since they were born. I've been hunting. So, but I'm trying to take a step back and not push it on them, see if it comes a little more naturally to them. They both enjoy shooting guns and bows, but neither one of them is like quite dedicated to, I want to go freeze my ass off and sit in a tree for 4 or 5 hours.
Right. Yeah. That's kind of a turning point there. Like when you get to that point, but do they go, I mean, will they hunt with you throughout the year? Or?
So one of my sons, he went with me on a turkey hunt. I guess it's been about 2 or 3 years ago now, but we were sitting in one of those hay bale blinds in the middle of this big pasture. And we only hunted for like 2.5 hours, but we saw 2 jakes, 5 hens, a bunch of does and fawns, or not fawns, a bunch of does, 2 coyotes, a raccoon, and we had a red-tailed hawk come in and scoop up a squirrel, all in 2.5 hours. And I'm like, this is some National Geographic, like the best, like per minute. This is the most action-packed sit I've ever had in my life. And I turned to my son, I'm like, pretty badass, isn't it? And he's like, kind of boring. I'm like, if somebody could guarantee me that every 2.5 hour sit, I'm super stoked.
I'd be living in the woods.
Yeah. But I mean, it's hard to compete with this.
Yeah, very true.
And this is the modern day pacifier. Is what this is. And I mean, you and I, we live our worlds on social media, so we're just as guilty. But like, when it's time to be outside and it's time to be engaged, I mean, set the phone down. Take it in. What is it Theo Vaughn says, man? You got to get out there and get some of that vitamin D from the God.
That's exactly right. I mean, and it is hard these days. It's and I fall victim to it too, where I'm like, I got to get this damn thing out of, because, you got however many different social media platforms. We're putting out content every single day. I'm checking in, who commented, who's this, I want to respond to people and stay up with it. But it's like, go outside and breathe some fresh air, get some sun on your cheeks. And
this could be an unpopular opinion. You know how, like, whenever you shoot a tom turkey, and the other toms, if they're in the area, they come and pounce on him. Like he's dead, and they'll pounce on him and kick his ass.
Right.
I feel like in the hunting industry, sometimes it's like that.
You're not wrong.
It's so competitive that it's weird. It's just it's such a unique thing, and I get it. We're all hunters. We're all supposed to be on the same team. But I feel like it's that starting quarterback, and there's a second string quarterback,
and they're competing for.
Yeah, if the starting quarterback forgot to tie his cleats, second stringer ain't gonna say shit to him.
No, exactly. Well, and we're all competing for attention, and so it's like, at what point or how do you go set yourself apart? You know what I mean? Like, how do you?
Right.
I mean, for you, like in Primal Divide, like, how do you see yourself kind of setting yourself apart from the rest of the pack and stuff?
I've kind of going under the mentality of, I'm not great at anything, but I'm pretty damn decent at a lot of shit.
Yeah.
So
Just
that's
I'm gonna
no,
roll with it.
I'm just, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's such a, it's a weird deal, you know, like, yeah, I love whitetail hunting. I do a lot of Western hunting, but like fitness is a big part of my life.
Right.
Firearms was a huge part of my life, you know, in my previous career, and I've kind of retapped back into some of that, doing the tactical games and, you know, getting into the race pistols and the competition ARs. But you know, jujitsu is a big part of my life as
Yeah.
well, and so I don't know. Like I feel like I'm throwing a lot. There's a lot of darts out there, but at the end of the day, it all kind of ties back into the original thing, and that was work more hours.
Right.
Stay active, be involved, do a lot of things, keep yourself motivated. You know, the whole like motion creates emotion type thing, and that's kind of my thing. And I'm like, hey, if people dig it, cool. If they don't, sorry. I guess maybe I'm a douchebag, you know. But you always fight that balance where if I was a millionaire and this was not my livelihood, I would just hunt to hunt. And I
Right.
probably wouldn't promote any brands unless I was like, I came across some underground company that I'm like, hey, other people need to know about this. But when people are like, oh man, these influencers, like, they don't spend as much time promoting conservation as they do promoting the brands. When's the last time that Theodore Roosevelt Foundation wrote you a fucking check?
Right. Exactly.
And I'm not saying that to be an asshole, because I do, you know, obviously feel like conservation's important, but what's paying my bills is, you know, Hoyt, Under Armour, HHA, Diamondback, Grizzly, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Winchester. Like
You got to
that's,
give them love. I
yeah,
mean,
it's a job. Like
right.
you know, when's the last time you picked up the phone and call your buddy and be like, so I saw you went to your 9 to 5 today,
Yeah.
you douchebag.
Yeah. You dumbass.
Yeah, like no, it's your job. That's what we get paid to do. We get paid to promote these products so they can sell more products, and that's how they pay their employees. That's how they pay
Right.
us, and you do it in the most authentic way that you can. But has anybody ever bashed a podcast or a TV show like, huh, another commercial,
Right.
sellouts?
Yeah.
How
The
do you
Super
make
Bowl.
money?
Right. Right.
That's just what you do.
Yeah. I mean,
So that part is always, and I know you guys are the same way. You know, we try to be as authentic as we possibly can, but sometimes I almost feel like stopping the episode and go, "I'm sorry, but we got to pay the bills."
right. Yeah.
If you
So
want to fast forward for the next 60 seconds,
we're gonna talk about this for a second, and yeah,
yep,
you're gonna have
yeah,
to deal with it.
yeah. Have you checked out the new RX-8 from Hoyt? You know
Right.
what I mean? Like you have to do it.
Right. Well, and it's funny too that you say that, because if you think about it, like we're partnered with Moultrie too. For
Mm-hmm,
instance, you know, we put something out there saying whatever, just selling Moultrie cameras. You get flagged for that. Oh, you know, whatever. But Moultrie puts out content. Maybe it could be the same piece of content
mm-hmm,
with us in it, promoting
mm-hmm.
Moultrie cameras. All good. Everything's fine.
Uh-huh.
What's the difference?
Yeah.
What's the difference? But it's coming from them, you know.
Uh,
But that's like that's where the competitiveness in the hunting industry, I think, has taken over a little bit, because that's jealousy, obviously.
yeah.
And it's like you gotta come up with something to diminish or demise this person or personality, whatever, based on what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, shooting a 180-inch deer isn't getting me more. Well, I indirectly it might get
Mm-hmm.
you may get a few more deals from it or something,
Sure.
but
Uh-huh.
in that moment, it's not like sick, massive check. It's not like Levi Morgan just won a ASA tournament and he's walking home with an extra 15 grand or something like that.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen. The glory is in the moment, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. You don't shoot a 180-inch deer and then Elon's like, hey, I'm going to send you $100,000 from
right.
Tesla. Like, that
Good
doesn't,
job.
yeah. And, you know, because of social media and there's so many people on it and everybody's posting so many times, you shoot a 180-inch deer and you post it on Monday morning, you're the cool guy until about 10:37 a.m.
Yeah.
And
When
then
the next one pops up. Yeah.
you're just another hack. You know
Yep.
what I mean? Like, so and that sucks that it's that way, but that's the nature of the beast. It's the game we play, and it'll probably never change. I think it's a people problem, at the end of the day. Like,
oh, for sure.
It's people. Like, I've never, and this is honest to God, I have never looked at a grip and grin and been like, that piece of shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've been like, damn, like, that's a hammer.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and I might leave a comment, I might heart it, or whatever.
Yeah.
But I've never honestly looked at it and been like, man, God, I wish that guy would fall off a cliff.
Yeah. He definitely did something.
Oh yeah.
Illegal to get that deer.
Yep.
He did,
poached it.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
at night, spotlight, whatever, neighbor's property, whatever. Yeah.
Yep. Because you never know how much hard work, possibly went into that. Was that their target buck? Was that their dream buck? Is that a new PR for them, or, whatever? But yeah, it's an interesting industry where, you want to be authentic. You're promoting hunting, but at the same time, you got to kind of promote yourself.
Yep.
And it's super weird. And, when I was in law enforcement, because I was undercover, I wasn't even allowed to have social media.
Oh, damn.
So, I mean, there's been a few conversations I've had with my sons where I'm like, so, yeah, let's talk about this Facebook thing. You know what I mean? Like, what exactly, you guys got any tricks for old pops here?
Yeah, help me out.
Because they grew up with it. I didn't grow up with it,
And they're like, Dad, you're old as shit. Facebook's outdated. You got to get on TikTok.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You got to start dancing on TikTok, Dad. I'm like, oh, it's a funny deal, but how fortunate that we are to do what we, what we do. And,
yep.
I don't take it for granted. It's weird because, like, it is a lot of work. There's a lot more work than what people think. And there's a lot of luck, because you and I both could probably name 10 dudes that are straight up killers.
Yeah.
I mean, killers. But for whatever reason, social media doesn't like them.
Right.
And, I'm like, what allows some people to be popular? I think it's a lot of FOMO. I think that's like a real thing. Like, if this person's super popular, then it's like, well, shit, so-and-so's liking their post, I got to like their post too.
Right. And too, I think it's, once again, it's an attention grab. It doesn't matter, your timeline is irrelevant now. It's not a timeline anymore.
Yeah.
There's not things popping up for you in chronological order. It's based on what you've liked, what you've commented on, what you've literally spent more time looking at. Like, the algorithm knows all that. So that's where you can get, somebody who's, maybe they just took a video off their cell phone and they shot a big deer, but that video gets millions and millions of views.
Yep.
And we're sitting over here and we're shooting on a high quality DSLRs and spending hours post-production, editing all this shit together to make it look cool.
Yeah.
And create a story. And you're like, about 15,500 views. All right.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. None of my hunts are ever going to turn into the Hawk Tuah girl. Ever.
No.
It ain't happening. You know what I mean?
But that's case in point. I mean, think about it. That is literally overnight celebrity status that was not feasible before is actually now feasible.
Yep.
Like, it is. It is.
Yep.
I was listening to a podcast with Theo Vaughn and Luke Holmes, and Luke was mentioning that because he's like, especially on TikTok, you could put together a song in like your parents' basement, and if it's catchy and if people like it, and all of a sudden it starts getting shared, like, and then it starts trending on TikTok, now all of a sudden, like, you are in the biggest limelight that you could have ever imagined overnight. But you don't have a manager. You don't have people around you to like help you understand what's going on or benefit you the most financially from what is actually happening. Like, getting back to the Hawk Tuah girl, hopefully she's making some money off of this stuff.
Yeah, I hope she's cashing in somehow.
Because my gosh.
Isn't that how Post Malone? Isn't that kind of how he got his start? Didn't he post something on SoundCloud or
Yeah,
something like that?
his first song, or not, it wasn't his first song, but his song White Iverson,
Yeah,
like literally, and I've listened to him tell the story too, but he posted it, whatever, at night, basically went to bed and woke up and like Eminem and Dr. Dre are messaging him and like they're like, we need to record this, whatever. And it's like,
yeah.
holy shit. Like that is crazy.
Dude, that's a character right there. He seems like he's a great guy.
He does. He does.
He seems like he's very humble. He looks like he loves guns, loves
Mhm.
to shoot and stuff, and doesn't do the typical Hollywood deal. But this might be the only universe that he's famous. I think he's a dishwasher in all other
For sure.
universes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he works at the bowling alley or something. You know what I mean?
Well, dude,
and if anybody works at the bowling alley, I'm not trashing your profession.
Right.
Be the best damn shoe shiner in the world. Ball shiner.
But think about it. Anything that dude touches turns to gold. Anything.
It's amazing. Mm-hmm.
He does he could do a song with Cardi B. He does a song with Blake Shelton. It doesn't matter. Like the shit just pops off. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah. And I like a lot of his music too. I mean, he's obviously wildly talented, but again, how many wildly talented artists are out there that never get their break?
Right.
It's just a crapshoot sometimes, it seems like. And, but good on them to capitalize. And like you said, as many things that I bitch about with social media, it does provide a lot of opportunities to a lot of people to get discovered and get successful and grab the bag, so to speak.
Yeah.
So
good stuff. Yeah.
It's a neat deal. But what hunts you got coming up this year?
We're kicking off the season. Well, actually, we're kicking off the season here in Tennessee. A couple of years ago, Tennessee started a velvet weekend. Usually the last weekend prior to Labor Day.
Oh yeah.
And so they literally open it up. It's private land only, buck only, obviously, and it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday hunt. So we'll do that, or I'll do that down here in Tennessee, and then probably that next Tuesday or something we head up to North Dakota and kick off the season up there. So we got North Dakota. Dean and I both drew Kansas this year, which will be sweet. So I'm looking forward to that. We've got a hunt with XOP in the beginning of October in Ohio. That's kind of just to bring all the XOP ambassadors together, get them in camp. It's a chance for them to show us some of the new gear that's going to be coming out for 2025 and kind of get our hands on it.
I like stuff like that. I've done some more stuff like that with some of my partners. And I think it's really cool for like building brand, it's really, really important to do.
You leave there so like charged up, motivated, refreshed. And it doesn't matter if anybody shot anything in camp or whatever, like that's kind of the icing on the cake. But last year we went up to Wisconsin and did this, and it was my first time meeting a lot of the guys that, kind of we work alongside from XOP, the other ambassadors and stuff like that. And, we've got now a group text that literally fires off weekly with with that same group. And we've kept the camaraderie going all year long, which is pretty awesome. But we're the same way. Like I beg some of our other partners to do stuff like this. And we have opportunities where we may even be able to provide the place for it to be happening, but it's just, with hunting kind of getting more and more competitive, it's a great way to bring everybody back together under one kind of roof or umbrella, however you want to say it, and get in camp, enjoy some hunts together, and more importantly, kind of bond over whether it's a product, a brand, or whatever it is. But you always leave there feeling very refreshed.
Yeah. I recently got to go out to Oregon and do an event with Loophole, and they brought a bunch of us out there for like a 2-day long range rifle, which was badass because it was right before my Arizona elk hunt. And
nice.
I credit a lot of my accuracy, in that elk hunt to doing that event with those guys. But the juries were out there, and country singer Justin Adams and Chad Mendez was out there, and I'm a huge fight fan. Been a
Me
fight
too.
fan a long time, so it was super cool to hang out with him and and whatnot, get to know a lot of those people, and really spend some time with the juries that I hadn't really done. I mean, we see each other at shows, and we kind of give each other the chin nod or whatever.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it was nice to get to know some of those people, and but same deal. I left out of there like, yeah, that was badass. That was a badass event. That was super cool. They brought everybody together like that, and got to hang out. So yeah, like you're saying, those deals are super beneficial.
Yeah. Oh,
And I
for
like
sure there.
everybody benefits from it, and kind of a little pep rally as well. Go team go kind of spirit.
Right. Right. Yeah, you leave there wanting to, do more work for them. That's for sure,
Exactly. That's exactly right. Yeah. Yeah. And, that's one of the things that I've been able to, I'm really happy with. I mean, like, a buddy's like, ah, man, I got a job. I hate working there, but I got to have a job. It pays
Right.
the bills. And, you could do that very easily in the hunting space too. There might be some brands that you work with that you don't really want to work with, but they're paying and
Right.
whatnot. But I've been very fortunate with a lot of the partners that I have, that I really, really like all the partnerships that I've got, and get along with everybody really well. And that's always been super important. I always like to say people first, product second, but they both better be fucking awesome.
Yeah, yeah. That's
And
a good way to look at it.
it's been super important because, whenever it comes time to, hey, we're having some budget changes, or can you do this? Can you do that? It's so much easier to have those conversations. Like if you're already on good terms, you've got a good rapport with the brands that you're representing, and you want to feel good about the brands you're working with. I mean, I don't want to work with any garbage brands that are doing garbage shit, or
Right.
the employees, or their principles don't align with mine.
For sure. Well, because most of the time that's going to align with your viewer. So
Exactly.
it's
Yeah.
like, I mean, that's kind of the way we look at it too. It's like, you know, how are we just going to take a paycheck from a shit company with a shit product and promote that to people that are putting us in the position that we are in?
Hmm.
Like, hey,
Yeah.
use
Right.
this. I wouldn't
Yeah.
use it if my life depended on it, but
Right. Yeah. But because they're paying me.
right here, we've never gone down that road, and I'm happy for that. It's a grind in the hunting world. I
Hmm.
mean, you're never really off the clock, especially because I know
No.
you mix in more production stuff outside of
Hmm.
the hunting world, I'm sure, as well, just like we do. And so you're never really off the clock. There's not a season anymore. Um, and some of the back end stuff, like, I'm not as passionate about as I
Oh
am
no.
the actual hunting stuff, but it's all necessary to keep
Yeah.
the boat moving in the right direction.
Well, and that was one of the big things, with bringing Leslie on board this, actually last year, is her primary focus is, she travels with me and does, she does the lion's share of the video, and then she does a lot of the reels as well. So, as this thing grows, it used to just be, you could put out a video of a hunt and you're good. Then you
Right.
got to start doing photos. Now you got to start doing reels. Now you got to start doing TikToks, and you got to
Yeah.
start doing stories. And the amount of work that we're doing, I mean, completely trumps the amount of work that we'll call them the old timers, or the visionaries, the founding fathers of the hunting space,
Right.
compared to what they used to have to do. Like, are you kidding me? Like, it's not even in the same ballpark. So that was super important to bring that on, because I was starting to get a little burned out. I'm
Yeah.
like, it
I've been
feels like
there.
all I'm doing is I'm a social media queen.
Right.
I was like,
Right.
this is not what I signed up for. I signed up to hunt.
Yeah. I want the
But
damn bow in my hand.
that's it. But there's so much work that goes into it. And again, I'm not bitching about it. I'm very fortunate to do what I do. But to a person who's not in this industry at this level, because there are people that are in the industry a little bit, they're getting some
Right.
product discounts, and I don't even think they quite have a full grasp as to what it took for you and I to get to this point. and what it's going to take to keep growing and stay here, maintain.
Right, right.
It's so much work. Like, it's crazy. Like, I mean, I came home from Arizona, said hello to wife and kids, immediately started unloading the truck, started reorganizing the gear room, grabbed cameras, pulled SD cards, started downloading, started editing that night.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean, it's crazy.
oftentimes that's how it is because, like, you know, we've been in different hunt camps and stuff like that, and kind of worked with different shows at times and stuff too. It's amazing to me the number of people that they come home and they just like forget about all excuse me, all of what they just
Uh
did.
huh.
And I'm
Uh huh.
like, all of what you just captured is the essence of, like, get that shit backed up, put
Yep.
it on a hard drive, put it on 2 hard drives,
Mm-hmm.
but secure it. Secure the bag because that is the bag.
Yep.
It's not done yet. You got a lot to do still.
Yep.
But if
Yep.
you lose that, your two-day drive there and back, what's it worth? You know, a couple photos or something maybe?
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
I mean, that whole experience that you're trying to pass along to your
Mm-hmm.
viewer, it's gone.
Yep.
So, I mean, I'm the same way. It's like, you know, you get done with a trip in North Dakota. Well, I got an 18 and a half hour drive home.
Mm-hmm.
My girlfriend's like, where the hell you been?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
she wants my time and attention too. We got a dog that's going to want my time and attention as well.
Yeah. It's date
Uh,
night.
yeah, it's date night as soon as we get back. All the while, I'm like, I got to get back. I got to
Mm-hmm.
unload this shit. I got to get all my shit organized. I got to
Mm-hmm.
get all this footage organized and on a hard drive.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I don't start editing tonight, I'm going to start editing in the morning. Because 2 days from now, I'm leaving for somewhere else,
Yep.
and all this
Yep.
shit's got to be in order.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
charge up the
Especially,
batteries and do it again.
yeah, you get into September, October, November, and it's just, I mean, it's Katie bar the door. You
Oh
know what I
yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah,
oh, it's insane. Looks like your truck looks like a bomb went off.
right, right.
I mean, it's crazy, but yeah, it's a wild deal that we do, and you know, I've known you guys a long time. You know, since basically the Wicked Tree Gear days,
Yeah,
and so I mean, I've known you guys going on. That's over 10 years now.
that's
So
crazy.
yeah, yeah, because I remember sending you guys some saws in like 2014.
Yeah, it had to be. It had to be. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
2014. Yeah, no, we were. I mean, we were working with you guys because we were working with you guys, Glacier, Coolers,
Yep, yeah, and that would have
and
been in
Tecumani.
16, 17 is when
Okay.
those other brands came on as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different brands, and and that was so it's cool to see the staying power, to see what you guys are doing. Like when we talked the other day, the food plot series. I think that's a great idea because there's not typically, unless you're going to Arizona, there's no hunting really going on right now. So,
Right. Right.
and that's good educational content. I mean, I've always said the idea of marketing is you have to entertain or educate.
Right.
Those are the two things you kind of gotta stay in that wheelhouse, and so you guys are able to provide that, and so that's always been super cool to see what you guys are doing, and I just think it's hilarious. Like, I didn't have a brother. I'm like, how cool would it be to get to hunt with your brother? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. No, I mean we're very lucky and fortunate at that. I mean, growing up, Dean and I were damn near joined at the hip. Like we were we were hunting, and yeah, and then once we got old enough and we were put a camera in our hands and we were just trying to be like the authentic weird versions of ourselves that we
Uh
were.
huh.
And you know, to think about how far it's come and how we've kind of taken it from like a little small family farm in Western New York, which is not a coveted hunting state by any means.
Uh huh.
Um, yeah, it's cool, and we haven't killed each other yet, so
So
it's
so
yeah.
the two video pieces that you guys have put out, that one, the video piece with the grunt tubes,
Oh my gosh, yeah,
I I will forever laugh every single
yeah.
time
We got
I
to whip
see
that one
that.
out again.
That is like one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. And then the other, I remember the first time I saw one of your all's video pieces. It was actually, um, at ATA at the Badlands Film Festival.
Okay. Yep.
And it was a rifle hunt, and you guys were kind of spread out and coordinated, and everybody had cameras like in their face. And I
Yep.
think Dino made the shot.
He
If
did.
I'm
Yep.
not okay, but you can't fake the pure elation and joy on your face
Yeah.
watching your brother. And I think it was like it wasn't like a close shot. It was kind of a poke. Like I think it was a couple 100-yard shot, wasn't it,
Yeah.
across the snow?
Yeah. It was like 240, I think.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and it was we had been getting our ass kicked all season that year. And there was a buck that we were hunting. We nicknamed him the Godfather, and he was just a ghost. Like we were getting pictures of him at night, but this deer was just a ghost. Well, one morning I get up and I'm all charged. I mean, I'm dead, beat ass tired. Like it's December,
Yeah,
I think it was December like 7th or something.
Yeah.
But it's that point in the season where you're just worn out, man. You're
yeah.
like a buck that just went through the rut.
That's right.
You want to lay in a warm area, lick your wounds, maybe have a sandwich or something.
Yep.
Don't bother me. Well, I don't know. I dug deep for some energy. I went out in the morning and I went to one of our redneck blinds. I'm overlooking the one bedding area that we have, just hoping that he picks his head up and whatever, I get like a moment of glory. Well, Dean slept in and he got in the truck probably like 8:00, 8:30. And he just started, we've got a little block that we run around, kind of around our property area. So he just started cruising the block and he saw this buck on some dude's property with a doe. And based on where he saw him in this cut cornfield and where he went, there was really only like a couple patches of cover. It's like 100-acre piece completely surrounded by roads. So he was kind of circling and they never came out. So we're like, they got to be in there. So I'm texting him and I'm like, dude, get some balls and just go knock on the dude's door. The dude is notorious for not wanting anybody to hunt there.
Yeah. But worst case scenario, he says no.
Right, exactly. Worst case scenario, he says no. So I hunt till like probably 11 o'clock. I go back to the house. Dean's sitting there on the couch. I'm like, did you ask him? He's like, no. I'm like, fuck it, dude. I'm going to ask him. Yeah. Like that. Like, we got nothing going on right now. Right. Nothing. And this buck is like in 2 different patches of cover. Like, who knows? So I drive up to his house. I pass his house the first time, bitched out, drove back around. I think I bitched out like 2 or 3 times. Yeah. And I'm like, man, I just gave Dean a whole bunch of shit for not knocking on this dude's door. Like, there's no way that I can't. I'll have to at least lie and say he said no, if I go back there without knocking on his door. So I finally got the balls. It's literally like snowing sideways. I knock on the door. Some sweet old lady comes to the door. I give her the spiel. Saw this buck we've been chasing all year. He looked like he was kind of wounded because Dean said that he was limping a little bit. So I'm just pulling out all the cards. I'm like, which one's going to work,
Yeah.
She's like, well, it's not really
You're like, and I was just diagnosed with a life-threatening disease. Yeah. This may be my last day to hunt ever.
Right, ever.
Yeah. He's just pulling every heartstring.
Oh, I'm like, what one of these is going to stick? Well,
yeah.
She's like, well, I'd let you, but it's really not up to me. I got to go get the boss, man. I'm like, all right, well, that's cool.
That's positive.
For sure. He comes out into the garage and, this dude's got to be in his 80s, old time Western New York farmer, probably born and raised his entire life. And he's kind of got like this shit eating grin on his face, just kind of like, who the hell is this guy? Well, I give him the same spiel. And I'm like, honestly, we just want to go in there. Like, it really will just be today. I'm not asking for a whole season of permission. Mm-hmm. He's like, all right, you got 1 day. You got the rest of today. Go in there, see if you can get him out of there. And after that, it's over. So I get back in the truck. At this point, it's like noon, maybe a little after noon. Meanwhile, it's getting sunsets like a little after 4:30, maybe 4:45. Yeah. So we got about 4 hours to to figure this shit out and get it done. I go back to the house and I am just on one. I'm like, they said, yes, we're going in. Like, let's go. All this stuff. So we get on Onyx. We draw, we basically, so we could see the big picture, knew what way the wind was blowing. I'm like, Dean, you need to get down like basically where you saw him trying to get out and cross the road, because clearly that's kind of where he wanted to go regardless. And I'm going to get up on this hill and I'm just going to let my wind do the work.
Yeah.
So I did that. I got way up on this hill, and the first patch, it's got to be a 20 plus acre hardwood thicket patch. And I'm walking up on like the upper loop of it, letting my wind blow down in there. And I kicked up, I literally stepped on this buck. And it wasn't the one that we were after, but it was a nice 9-point. And I didn't even have a gun with me. I'm like, holy shit. I mean, it scared the shit out of both of us. He goes peeling off out of there, nowhere near Dean. And I'm like, holy shit. Oh my God. Like there's more deer in here, you know? So I go walking down through the first thicket, and a couple more doe came out, but nothing. And I go walking up to the next thicket where we thought he could be, and I didn't even get to it. And I heard the first shot, and I'm like, no fucking way. Like there's no way this worked. And it did. My wind was trickling right down in there. And that buck, that weary big bastard, he was trying to navigate his way out of there. He came out and he was trying to go across the same way and get into, there's a massive swamp across the street, and he was trying to get over there. And I think Dean shot once, and as he was kind of moving at a couple hundred yards, the deer stopped and just stood there because he probably didn't know where it came from.
Right.
And he got a rest and he shot again. And that thing just came running right towards him, like 40 or 50 yards, and just bit the dust right in the corn. And so at that point, he calls me. I'm freaking out because I heard both shots. I'm like, there's nobody else around that this could be. Like, and Dean is about the most like laid back. Like, he's not taking a shot unless he knows he's making it, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So I knew this thing wasn't just going to go hauling ass across the corn and he's just going to be ripping shots off at. That's just not how he rolls.
Yeah.
So when I heard the shots, I'm like,
he's
holy
down.
Shit. Yeah, he's down. Well, we went nuts, whatever. Funny story though. We killed them in a cut cornfield, probably 80-acre cut cornfield. The corn stubble's got to be 1.5 feet high.
Mm-hmm.
So I come up over the hill. I see Dean. He's going nuts. He sees me. We walk to each other, and we get to each other in this cornfield. And I'm like, where's the deer? And he's like, oh, I thought you saw where the deer was. I'm like, bro, I've been over the hill. I can't see shit. Like, where's the deer?
Yeah.
He's like, dude, he ran at me. I know I saw him go down. Well, Dean puts his bag down, puts his gun down, and we start literally doing circles in this corn to the point where I'm like getting ticked at him. I'm like, bro, did this deer get back up and like run away?
Right.
Like, what the hell happened?
Yeah.
We're in a wide open cut cornfield. We should be able to see this thing.
Yeah. Aliens came in and grabbed him or what? Yeah.
So we're doing circles. Finally, I spot him, and he's kind of like in like a tractor rut, and you could just see his rack. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, he's right here. I'm like, but I'm not walking up to him. You got to, like, you kill them. You're doing the honors.
Yeah.
Well, then he looks at me and he's like, dude, where's my pack and my gun? And like, I'm like, dude, are you fucking talk about coming unglued in a situation? I'm like, are you shitting me? So now we're doing circles looking for that. I've got the camera and I'm just standing there like looking at this thing. I'm like, dude, just take. I did have a gun. Because I told him, I'm like, dude, just take my gun, walk up, make sure this thing's dead. Let's do a recovery real quick. And then we'll figure out, we'll collect the freaking everything else that we need to. And right as he was about to do that, he's like, oh, there it is. There's my gun. There's my pack. So, but you want to talk about a moment where you lose everything you got. You lose control, mental capacity, everything. And it just goes out the window. But it was an epic hunt. That's probably one of my favorite hunts of all time.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a cool video that you guys put out. And, you've had a couple others like, there was actually both of them were with you. One, you were self-filming from a tree and you snort wheezed at that deer.
Yeah. A couple years ago.
Yeah. And that was like, you're running cameras, you're moving cameras around.
Holy
That deer
shit.
kept shifting because I remember watching that and I was like, dude, he actually did a better job filming solo with a bow in his hand than I do when I'm by myself and I'm filming for somebody else. I'm like, that's crazy. And then you had your New York buck in the snow where you were in the blind.
Yeah, with a bow. Yeah.
Yeah. And that one, that was crazy because I remember like you had the GoPro on you and you're just like, oh,
yeah. Yeah.
That thing just like sauntered in and kind of caught you off guard down there in that bottom.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
He came
that
out
was another good hunt.
Yeah, he came out of that bottom corner, and we hadn't seen that deer in probably a month or so. We honestly had thought he may have gotten killed, and
didn't he lose his rack on the death run?
Oh no! So that was an Ohio buck that Dean shot the same year, same season, couple weeks or maybe a month or so later. In Ohio, yeah, Dean had that one lose his rack on the death run, but this one, yeah, he it was just one of those days where like. Once again, the weather was
because it was snowing, like crazy.
Snow was hammering down. There was already a foot of snow on the ground, and he just came in to eat the beans like he had all summer,
Yeah,
and it was crazy because we've got a couple, we've got probably 3 different trail cameras on that specific plot. So you think, if he had done that the day before or whatever, you're seeing him for sure.
Yeah.
At some point in his travels around the field, but. Who knows if he did it before or if that was just the first night back and it got him. I don't know, but that's another one that's just a crazy hunt. That deer ended up dying on the neighbor's property. I had to go ask permission. Our neighbor absolutely despises us, so that was a whole thing. We're in a blizzard. I got to go knock on this guy's door. Like he already hates us. It was the emotions going through that hunt too were just out of control.
Yeah. That's super awesome.
Out of control. But
hell yeah, man. Yeah, I've watched a lot of your stuff and I enjoy the content and I enjoy the stories that you guys tell. I mean, I consider you guys like part of the OGs, as well.
For sure. Likewise. Yeah. And we enjoy all your stuff as well. All the different adventures that you get to experience that I haven't gotten to experience yet in my hunting career. It pushes me to explore it, because once again, coming from a little small town, little 80-acre piece in Western New York to being able to have some of the opportunities that we do now is pretty awesome.
The hardest part about the Western stuff is, I start off my season, spotting and stalking with a bow, and then I make it to a tree stand. And it's always that first sit in a tree stand where you're there and you're like, well, shit, yeah, man, in a tree. Like, hell, I've been up here for about 3 hours. And you're like, oh, it's been 16 minutes. Holy shit.
I got to get down and go stalk something.
Yeah, exactly. So it takes a few weeks to kind of mentally reset yourself. And you're like, I'm married to this tree stand or this blind or whatever. So that's a little transition every year.
I bet it is. It's
always odd.
Well, because it's a totally different hunt. You're in pursuit or you're, likely you're sitting over a food plot or maybe over a scrape or making some calls or whatever and trying to get something to pursue you. It's just totally different.
Yep. It is. It's and that's exactly right. Yeah. It's either I'm chasing or I'm just trying to ambush,
right.
Be at the right place, the right time. And, they're both fun. I don't know which one, if somebody said you could only do one style the rest of your life, I don't know which one I would pick. I know it's probably 60-40. Like I might go, if somebody said you could only do one, I'm probably going to go on the spot and stalk side.
I probably would have. I not even have done it. I probably would err on the side of that as well.
Yeah, because I figure I can possibly put the chips in my favor.
Right. Well, you're in more control at least, or something like that.
In theory, in theory, yeah. In control of the wild animal, but no, you're exactly right. Yeah, I think you could it might shift the odds in your favor in the sense of how hard you're willing to work can only pay more dividends.
Right.
And like there's a reason why I get up and I go to the gym every single morning. I've already been to the gym this morning and back home, and then I'll have, jujitsu tonight. And, but all of that stuff is all like lessons in life, right? Like
Sure.
discipline to go kick your own ass,
Right. Feeling that pain.
Yeah. It's really not a vanity thing. It's really, keep pushing yourself to failure and be like, oh, I didn't die.
Right.
And, the next time I did it, it got easier. So, that's really, I think that's the basis of everything that I try to put out there is like, just go work hard. And then the reward is sweet,
Right.
It's
and
a
it
lot,
is.
it's a lot more
I
fun.
mean, it is. It's a lot more fun than just having somebody put you in a stand and go shoot something. It doesn't have and that's probably where, for yourself, you kind of had to teach yourself this whole game and getting into it and learning that way. Where, for me, I was put in the woods at a very young age, but there's a lot of hardships that come along with hunting, especially bow hunting, like mental hardships that you think you have control over, but you don't have control over it. And you've got to be able to get past that. So to your credit, like going to the gym every morning, going to jujitsu, like putting yourself through, more physical stuff, but it's still mental. You still got to get up and get yourself to go there and get through an entire workout and all that stuff. So it all correlates. And I've actually learned more recently over the last couple of years how much being physically fit or just having like some sort of physical discipline in your life helps you as a hunter.
It does. It really does. I mean, packing out that elk, I attribute that. A lot of that came in, talking about those destination hunts where you're on a time limit and things aren't going right, but like getting up every morning and dragging your bag of bones up a mountain or to the tree stand. And you're like, it's going to be cold as shit, but you never know. Something could happen. So a lot of that stuff comes into play. And I think it is more mental than anything else. But yeah, it's been a huge part of my life. And I try to limit how much I put on social media because I figure some people might not, I don't want to see another workout post or whatever.
Yeah.
But the reality is I probably work out 320 days a year and I hunt 180 days a year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in reality, more of my life is geared more towards fitness than it is even hunting,
Right.
But, it's Johnny Utah hunt, not Johnny Utah biceps. So,
hey, you still got to make them look good along the way. So
That's right. Yeah.
Well, Johnny, I appreciate you coming on here once again. Yeah, we could have done this. We could have probably doubled the time here and just kept going. No one else do.
So
but
back in 2013, right.
Oh man. But no, I appreciate you jumping on here and absolutely love the conversation. Obviously love what you do. If you want to plug your social medias so our fan base and our following can follow along with you too, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, for sure. So Instagram, it's johnny.utah.hunt. If you want to know where that came from, think Point Break movie. That's where that nickname came from. But on Facebook, it's Johnny Utah Hunt Official. And then my show is called Primal Divide. And new episodes premiere on the Waypoint channel. So if you don't have the Waypoint channel, get it. It's free. If you have Samsung TV or Sling or Fubo or any of those, it's a native channel on your streaming platform already. So, man, appreciate the time and respect you guys and respect what you do. That's why we've been friends for so long. I'm a firm believer, law enforcement and being an Aries. If I don't like somebody, they know that I don't like them. So.
We've gotten this far. We're doing pretty good.
Yeah. We're home free now,
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, all the respect is mutual. Absolutely love what you do. And we'll definitely be keeping in touch on the road as the fall travels get closer and closer.
Absolutely. And one of these days we're gonna get a hunt together. I don't care if we're shooting gophers. I don't care what it is. Let's go. We gotta go do something.
There's no doubt about that for sure. We got to get that on the book sooner than later.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool, man. Well, thanks again.